Let's actually just start by looking at a news article from the NZ Herald that says this. Representatives of the Health Coalition Aotearoa wrote to Seymour, an Associate Education Minister, on Monday requesting an urgent meeting so they can plead the case for keeping the scheme, which provides free lunches to about 220,000 students across the country. Free lunches to 220,000 children across the country are under threat because of this government that likes, this is exactly the example. Luxon says, I'm entitled to it. At the moment, these kids are fucking entitled to these lunches. What you're doing is you're going to change the entitlement of these kids and take away their lunches while you continue to take your entitlement. Yeah, I know you're paying back the $52,000 that you took or whatever it was, but there's your entitlement, your attitude of I'm entitled to this. Well, these kids are entitled to this. The other thing is, this is not an issue, right? This is not an issue of can we afford it. This is an issue on how do we prioritize this, right? At the moment, money back to landlords, money back to wealthy people and tax cuts, money going to the tobacco industry because we're cancelling 2025. All these things are prioritized higher than money in your kids, your grandkids, your nieces and nephews' mouths at school. So don't buy the bullshit about we can't afford this. The truth is, it depends where they prioritize this. I'm going to be silly now and say, if this was the number one priority in New Zealand, which it's not, but if it was, they would easily afford it. Because if it was at the top of the list, there'd be plenty of money under it. What they're going to do is they're going to find out where that list finishes of what they can afford, and then they'll decide whether lunches are below it or above it. It will be a choice. It will not be a conversation on can we or can't we afford it.
Support the free school lunch scheme, ka ora ka ako.
It said the program didn't represent good value for money because about 10,000 lunches are wasted every day. And some...
Let's just think about that. The story we just read on the New Zealand Herald said 220,000 people get fed. And they're worried about 10,000 school lunches. Now, 10,000 out of 200,000 would be about 5%. So it's going to be about 4%. So they're worried about a 4% wastage, right? How many government agencies, even the ones that this government ticks off on and say are okay, do you think have a 96% success rate? Because that's what they are admitting this has got. And they're saying, oh, we better rework these numbers, Chewy. Wastage.
Somehow that's descended into a scrap over pigs. Political reporter Amelia Wade has the details.
For 1 in 5 Kiwi kids, there is such a thing as a free lunch.
It would be madness to take them away. That is the single biggest, most positive change I have seen in an entire career in teaching.
The ka ora ka ako healthy lunch.
But Chewy, what the fuck does she know? I mean, she just works with these kids every day and she sees how they operate in the classroom. I mean,
would you say in the front
4%,
line, not the back
4%,
office?
yeah, 4% waste, and we need money elsewhere. So what does she know?
Lunches in Schools program was continued in the budget, but the government's bean counters Treasury advised against it and said while there are lunches aplenty, there's no evidence it had an impact on school attendance.
I know wholeheartedly that this program makes a huge difference for our young people. So I support this program 100%.
So it's changing school attendance. They want to be there because they're getting a good meal. And we're talking about students who might not have a properly cooked meal every day.
Treasury also uncovered that about 10,000 lunches costing about $25 million are left over every single day. But that doesn't mean they're wasted. A Ministry of Education survey found 61% of leftovers are given to students to take home and 21% are given to the community. But the ACT Party has an issue with the rest.
In fact, they're almost literally feeding taxpayers' hard-earned money to pigs.
I think that's a little bit insulting to be saying that wastage is going through to pigs.
We got to the swine swipe because...
What's the name of the pub on grounds that all the MPs work in? Eat in? They eat for free?
Bellamy's.
Bellamy's. I think I'll put a call into Bellamy's tomorrow and ask what they do with their waste. Because they'll have waste, and I wonder what they do with it. Could it end up going to pigs? Well, maybe we'll have to find that out, because if that's the case, well, we better get rid of MPs' lunches. 100%. Think about that, actually. Think about that. MPs on $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, they get free lunches in Bellamy's, is my understanding. Am I correct on that, Chewy? They don't pay for lunches? Yeah.
Yep. They get a meal allowance.
So it's good enough. And none of those fucking MPs better leave 4% of the food on their plate. Because if they don't eat it all and they leave 4% of the food on their plate, then that's money that the taxpayer's losing and the taxpayer's wasting. Just remember strongly.
We want a government that cares about how every single dollar is spent, because every single dollar the government spends is ultimately a dollar from your pocket.
Yeah. So whatever you're having for lunch at Bellamy's tomorrow, Mr. Luxon, there better not be any more than 2% wastage. Even if you're full, put it in your fucking mouth.
Principal Tim Nelson said sometimes they give leftovers to kids with pigs.
The pigs are the very end of the line.
Because mostly leftovers go to students and their whānau. He says free lunches are a great social equaliser.
If you're a parent and say it was around lunches and you send your child to school without food, then there'll be a sense of shame attached to that. And now that doesn't exist.
Yep.
Tim says the claim that $25 million worth of wasted lunches going to the pigs is just ACT telling porkies.
I think that was one of those moments
News Hub.
I think that's one of those moments where every chance you can get to show that video, you must show that video. I think that was at the end there.
I just hope like News Hub staring down the barrel. They're gone in June, right? All bets are off the table. Right, put that in every footage. Every story about Seymour has to end with him twerking and talking about value for money. Look, here's the thing. What's the bigger problem? That there is some wastage out of this program, and we're not even talking a majority of wastage, a tiny percentage of wastage in this program. Are there hungry kids? That is the problem. I want fed kids in school learning. Play the long-term game. Like, if you don't have enough money to keep kids fed in school, find the fucking money. Talk to your mates. Go door knocking on 311 families' doors until you can feed the kids. Because that's what, like, how much is it costing me extra per year out of my tax to make sure that kids are fed?
Yeah. I
20 cents?
think the official word is 3/5 of fuck all, Chewy. I think that's what they say.
Yeah.
In accounting terms.
It does not matter. Because kids are fed. Kids are in school learning, and if they don't eat the meals, then they're going to the families, so they're fed, and then maybe some go to pigs. I don't care. I don't care that some pigs might be getting a free meal every now and then. They're pigs. What I do care is the vast majority of these meals, the vast majority, are eaten by hungry kids. And as that principal said, they have lowered the bar. Like, every kid can have that meal. There isn't this bar set off with only poor kids can sit. So if you see some of those kids with the free meal, they're the poor kids. No, they're meals for all the kids. Remove that stigma.
I don't know if it was in that story or not. I was doing two things at once. I might have missed it, but I saw a story that said the most, because I was talking about being cost effective. And if it's in that story, just tell me, because I might have missed it as I was Googling something else. The most cost effective way to serve school lunches to kids is to serve them to all kids. I mean, that's actually, rather than trying to means test it, rather than trying to figure out who needs it most, giving them to all of them is actually the most cost effective way to do it, because there's a whole bunch of admin that doesn't have to get, people visiting houses to see, do you really, yada, 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 yada.
And I mean, that's the case with any program where people need to get fed, right? You scale it up en masse, your costs go right down. There's a fantastic business here in Dunedin called the Bowling Club. They serve $4 meals, and I quite often go down because it's a $4 meal. I can't finish the meal that they give me because it's so much, but they do it for $4 a head, and they are a business. They are making a profit on that they put back into the community, and I'm just stunned. So if they're able to scale a program to feed hungry kids in schools, anybody that is wanting to cut that program needs to have a fucking look at themselves, because there are other things that can be cut, such as your MP's Bellamy allowance, your accommodation supplement,
but I'm entitled.
Supplement.
Yeah, but Chewy, I'm entitled to my Bellamy's allowance. I'm entitled to it. What are you talking about?
But maybe it can be trimmed. How much can be saved if you're
but
only
I'm-
allowed
but I'm-
2 Bellamy's meals?
But I'm entitled to
week?
it now. What are you talking about? I'm entitled to it now. By the way, I've already written to Bellamy's asking what they do with their waste. That's what I was doing when I was looking away the other way. Here's the bowling club. We should give them a free plug because they're fabulous people. We actually met up there on Christmas morning, didn't we, Chewy? They opened up on Christmas morning for the community. And you know how much they charge? If we went in a bit of a delay, I'd get you to guess in the chat how much they charge for their Christmas. You know, basically eat as much as you want breakfast. We'll just tell you. Chewy, do you want to tell them how much do they charge us on Christmas morning? Eat as much as you want, including, if you wanted to, taking a whole pavlova home with you. What do they charge us?
Not a damn thing.
Zero. And it was jam-packed with people coming together, communities coming together on Christmas morning. So people should definitely check it out. The Bowling Club in Dunedin. There you go. Hashtag not an ad. I think that's what you say, isn't it? Something like that.
I know they could keep us on $4 meals probably for eternity. Yeah, like I just don't. Well, I do understand the priorities of this government. The priorities of this government is more for me and less for thee.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're going to take away from the less fortunate in society because they are moochers and scum and lazy and fat and dirty and dumb, and they don't deserve anything. And the people that have stacks of hoarded gold, they need more because they're the producers. They're the guys that have had the liquid capital to swoop on houses, to swoop on state-owned enterprises when we had to sell them off. That they're making something and they need more. And I think for those people, you know, they need to look at themselves as well and say, well, look at what this country has given me. Look at what this country has enabled me to do. Through my education, through my upbringing, through the fact that I swooped on public assets that were made private and I could buy them. Aren't I lucky? Maybe I should share some of my good fortune to those that aren't. And that, I think, has been lost.